Welcome to Liberty GB. My name is Tim Burton. Some of you have been asking about the current status of my interactions, shall we say, with the criminal justice system. Now, for those of you who don't know, I was recently subjected to a criminal trial back in March of 2017, which resulted in a guilty verdict and a conviction and a sentence of 6 weeks imprisonment. It should have been 12 weeks, but they let me out after 6 weeks. I guess they couldn't stand me inside the building anymore. And now I'm looking to see what can be done about the original conviction. As many of you will know, it was obviously on so many levels a political show trial. And what we found was that there are numerous instances where procedural tactics were not followed correctly, and one particular glaring instance of conflict of interest. This involved the Crown Prosecution Service expert witness, who declared in writing to the court that he knew of no reason why he couldn't give evidence on behalf of the Crown Prosecution Service to the court. Well, lo and behold, after all the dust has settled and I've done my 6 weeks in HMP Thameside, what do we find but the fact that the Crown Prosecution Service expert witness has in fact got very close ties with the Crown Prosecution Service through an organisation that he runs. Now, a senior member of the Crown Prosecution Service is a patron of that organisation. So there you have a founder of an organisation whose patron is somebody from the Crown Prosecution Service, who is asked to give evidence on behalf of the Crown Prosecution Service against myself, who is being prosecuted by the Crown Prosecution Service. Now, if you can follow all that, and I have to say it took me a little while to get my head around it, you will see that that is a gross conflict of interest, and one that should have been declared before the start of the trial. Well, it wasn't, and therefore a contempt of court application has been filed in order to put right what we see as an obvious wrong. Because if somebody gives expert witness in a case, and he shouldn't do because of his patent dishonesty, there is no way that he didn't know of the connections between his organisation and the Crown Prosecution Service. If somebody is guilty of patent dishonesty, then their expert witness testimony should be disallowed. And if the expert witness testimony were to be disallowed, it follows from that that my conviction should be overturned. Now, it's one thing saying this and quite another to get the courts to actually move in order to have a hearing held on the subject, but we are chivying them every week to see if we can get any kind of sense out of them. They obviously are not very keen on the idea, otherwise they would have responded straight away. They can respond quickly, as we know. Witness what happened with Tommy Robinson when a contempt of court application was made, I think on the Friday. He was arrested on the Saturday. This was to do with Canterbury Crown Court, and he had a hearing on the Tuesday, all in the space of 3 or 4 days. So the courts can move quickly when they want to. Of course, if a hearing were to be held and it was found to be in my favour, it could be extremely embarrassing for the Crown Prosecution Service, because the Crown Prosecution Service expert, Dr. Matthew Wilkinson, has given evidence in a lot of very high-profile cases. And if it were to turn out that his evidence should be no longer valid, that is going to set the cat amongst the pigeons regarding the defence barristers of the people who were represented in those cases. Some of them are very high profile indeed. I won't go into them now, you can check it out on Google if you like, but rest assured the Crown Prosecution Service would be extremely embarrassed if this were to be found in my favour. So we will see. But I would like to thank you all so much for everything that you have done for me. since my trials and tribulations began back in September of last year. Yeah, it's almost a year. Who would have thought it? I'd like to thank you all so much. You've been extremely kind, and I would just like to say, if there is any way that you can donate any more to my legal defence fund, it would be very much appreciated. There's been a lot of expense, as you might imagine. The expense could go higher if we get no sense out of the Crown Court. We might have to look at taking this to the appeal court, and if we take it to the higher court, ultimately, in theory, we could go as high as the European Court of Justice or the European Court of Human Rights. I'm hoping it won't come to that, but nevertheless, if you can help in any way, it would be very much appreciated. But thank you so much, everybody, and I'll make sure to keep you updated as soon as we know what's happening.